for that. So we're a nice and cozy group. I'll open it up for anyone who wants to ask a question to just pop on and ask. But I do have two to start with. So I'll start with those two, and then anyone who has a question, just please unmute yourself and ask Richie. So the first question we have is, what's the role of gratification from others?
Well, there are two ways to look at that, right? When gratification could come in form of recognition or validation. And the idea is to not go seek that. The roles that you want to seek in others is a source of knowledge, a source of transformation, and eventually a sense of gratification or recognition does come through. We've had these occasions every time we've worked with a new partner, a new agency, a shroud of doubt and mistrust on, who will play a bigger role or who's actually the bigger and better agency. How do they do this and how do we do this, and kind of a thing like that. By the end of it, we all are people and we all are trying our best. And we need to understand that why we even came together is because we realized that there are some things that both bring together that can bring to a resourceful output. Um, it's nice to even look at your family for a source of recognition, but at the same time, trust them to just be your riders through life. And that itself is gratifying enough. Anything more expected from them is just giving them kind of like a dissolution of service to the lives they have to lead on their own as well. So I really hope I answered that question, Randa.
Of course you did. Of course you did. So the other question is, how do you listen to your resistance?
Well, I give myself 24 hours. That's what I do. I do not instantly react to a situation. So it's always a no. It's like even yesterday we got an email for a new prospect. I was like, no, but how can we do this? I was like, I'm just gonna give myself a day and then I'm gonna re-look at that email. You feel like time is of urgence, you think that time has power over you. And the idea is to just tell time that, wait a second, just give me a day. If I do carry the same weight of opinion, there is some validity. And this is very different to having an instinct, because the instinct stays. So if the instinct lasts longer than your resistance, then there is some weight to what you feel towards that moment or towards that experience.
I love that. And I think this advice I used probably 10 years ago when I was trying to fix my impulse buying. And so I said, if I still want it tomorrow, I'll come and get it. And that's reduced my buying by like 80%. 80%, right? So now it's became a habit, like, but it's beautiful that you're also applying it to, how do you respond to others? Nothing is urgent. If it's urgent for them, it doesn't have to be urgent for you. That's a wonderful.
Yeah, I
So
mean, if
yeah,
I could, if I could
of
add to
course.
that, it also comes down to reframing how you describe that situation. I have people who keep on telling me, I need to do this or I need to do that. I'm like, listen, they're only basic needs: water, comfort, air to breathe,
Yes.
clothes to wear, shelter. Everything else is a want. And as
I
soon
need
as
to
you
go
say
out.
want, the
Yes.
importance reduces. We all want to make the situation so
Yes.
precious to us. We don't need to, that's the thing.
Are you
The
talking
pressure
about
of this.
Hiten? Are you talking
Oh,
about Hiten?
Hiten, my daughter, I've got clients. We need to do this. And I'm like, you don't need to do shit.
Yes.
You need to live. You want to work. It's that. This is what we have as a luxury right now. You know,
Yeah.
Everything else is just living. That's it. So even comes down to how you frame that point of view. Again, it comes down to point of view. When you look at a problem, you're like, it's so big, or like the client is upset. Oh, no, no, just start distancing yourself away from the problem. It gets easier to solve for it then,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Okay. O- all right. What's one fruit that made you wonder why would you do that to yourself with the experiment?
Yeah, it was the first fruit. It was this dragon fruit from Thailand. It had no flavor at all.
Oh,
Me
I
and Hiten
love
were eating
that.
it. We're eating it, we're staring at each other, we're like, what is this? And we're trying to like put up this fake smile because our daughter is there and she's such a picky eater and we want her to try it too. And we're like, but in our heads we're like, what is this? I'm going to just eat it, but I don't understand it. But it's
Oh
it's
my goodness.
fun. It was even that moment because we don't really get time as a family to slow down and have these moments because I work with my husband too and we're co-parenting. So many of our conversations are like work, kid, life,
Yeah.
finance. So the
Yeah.
thing with the fruit kind of just breaks through, into a new era of conversation, gives us something to laugh about as well. Yeah.
I love that. So, what do you do in those 24 hours when I get an email? I am so impulsive, I have to finish it, otherwise, I will stress over it and overwork.
I just give myself a time. It's as simple as that. Life is, I have to wake up, I have to go, pack up my kid's lunchbox, and then there are other work that's happening. And then I meditate, and then I take a shower. You're going through activities that start settling in your mind to it. That email is flagged, there's a reminder you set to yourself. When the reminder comes up, I go back and put my focus on that. And in most cases, I'm always able to um, approach the situation with much more receptivity, or through what I do, through the news I read or the articles I read, something helps me uncover a new perspective, you know? It's like how when you speak to your friends about an issue and they give you this thought or a question that makes you realize, I did not think of it that way. You need to allow your brain to um, get a day to kind of figure it out. And it does. Actually, there's so much knowledge stored over here. You do end up figuring it out. You just need to give yourself a day. So I kind of set a reminder to myself at a time. I'm not a night person, I'm a morning person. So I kind of do it towards the peak of my productivity to see when I'm most receptive, how do I look at the problem then? Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And if you cannot rely on a brain, you can bring one like the virtual background of cat and then rely on that. And then that will give you an augmented brain to think with. So that's awesome. So while you were talking, I have a question of my own. Um, are you a divergent thinker? Is this your nature? Because I feel that you raise the bar with getting that as a skill. But is that how you are as a child?
Well, as a child, it's as much as I try to recall it, it's so interesting. The hobbies that were thrown to me or the interests or the experiences were thrown to me were basically my parents' aspirations of the stuff they did not get as kids of their own. And I kind of went through it, and some things worked out and some things didn't. And what helped with that is that my dad would, let's say, for example, throw in golf, and then my mom would throw in silk painting. And I think what happened is that he comes from the analytical background, she comes from the creative, and there's like a mix cocktail of like fusion of experiences that I was kind of brought into. My mom would be like, okay, learn a little bit Hindi or French. And my dad would be like, beef up on your English and Arabic. So just like, what is happening? And I think a little bit of multiple exposures did help me come to this point. And honestly, I look at my dad for these things. He's been such a successful CEO in his company. And one of the things he actually does is that he listens to his team. He brings in the youngest, mixes them with the oldest into meetings and says, I'm a crazy old man. You tell me how I should do it, right? And what he does is that he listens, 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 and he always talks at the end. He's the one who speaks last. And I think I've picked up on that nature as well. But I think what happens on the professional side, there's some sense of control because there's a clarity on and a familiarity on the type of clients that we've been exposed to. There are cards that I can go back to. But life is just like, okay, for example, if schools get shut, what do I do? And how do I plan for it? I just need to tell myself, we will plan for it. Trust yourself that you can plan for it. And that's a good enough thought to seek comfort in. So I am practicing this, but professionally, I can confidently say it's something that I think they pay me to do. Every time the clients look at me, they're like, we do not know exactly what you do. We just bring you in because you bring in new stuff. And I'm like, okay, as long as you pay me for that, I'm not going to complain. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because I find myself the opposite. I find myself born very, very divergent, and I had to learn how to create routines and systems and collaborate with people like you and Aldrin who love Excel sheets, and I don't. So like I think together we make power team. I want to open it up to anyone else who has a question. Unmute and ask your question, please. Be comfortable with the silence, Richie. Be comfortable with them thinking through it. Some people are introverts. They need to mull it over.
Everyone's had everything answered.
That's awesome.
Never gonna give you up.
Exactly.
Never gonna let you down.
So we have a question. What are you looking forward to this year?
Oh,
You can also think.
I've actually kept like 4 words as thoughts that I want to keep on prompting to myself. So connection, better connection with people that I already know. Health, so focus on my mental health, improve my nutrition, breakthrough. So I've had a list of the kind of people I want to work with and speak to. In fact, I'm 50% through on this already, and I've also put in money. Yeah, I've put in money. It's right there at the bottom, though. So I'm sticking to my spiritual side, not the capitalistic style. It's more of stability. It's more about getting our own home. I want to invest and buy our own family home that we can live in for 20, 30 years, and Kalista can grow up in. That's what I want to do this year. Yeah.
Awesome. Are you listening, Hiten? We're holding you for that. There's your gym. There's your gym.
He's partly responsible.
I know.
It's already here. It was enough of a need to actually be, I guess, approved by the finance ministry.
Awesome. So Mo is telling you to laminate that post-it, and another is telling you, oh, thank you very much. It's been very insightful. And then it seems that you, Richie and Hiten, you need to open your own gym soon. So that's cool. Awesome. Thank you, James.
You know what? I think this has just been a spectacular morning. People are heading off to work. We got places to go. Richie, thank you. I can't stress enough. You've left us thinking. You really got our minds going this morning. What a treat. Thank you for taking the time and getting involved with Creative Mornings. And again, big round of applause from everyone for just really
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for having me here.
And we look forward to you joining us again. Please keep coming to Creative Mornings, become part of this community. I think it's all about people like you and the rest of this community that just keep it energetic and give us that reason to get out of bed once a month and have this kind of a conversation. And as I said, I look forward to when we can start doing it in person again, because that is just so special. But thank you very much.
Hopefully keep the hope up.
Yeah, for sure. And on that note, I want to close off Creative Mornings number 61. We'll be back next month with another great speaker on another great stream. We'll let you know about all of that very shortly. But thank you all for coming. As always, do us one favor, spread the word about Creative Mornings. Tell a friend, let them know that we exist, and bring them with you next month. Share us. And on that, have a great day. Thank you everyone for coming out. Bye.
Bye, everyone.